Have you ever felt like a volcano, calm on the surface, but with molten lava churning deep inside? You might not be throwing things or yelling, but anger is still there, simmering beneath the surface. This is repressed anger, and it's more common than you think. It's the anger we don't allow ourselves to feel or express, often because we were taught that anger is bad, or because we're afraid of conflict. But ignoring anger doesn't make it go away. It just forces it underground, where it can quietly sabotage our lives. Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of repressed anger. We'll explore what it is, uncover its subtle signs, and I'll share the story of Alex, someone who learned to navigate this tricky emotion. And most importantly, we'll talk about healthy ways to finally release that pressure. Let's meet Alex. On the outside, Alex seemed to have it all together. A steady job, a nice apartment, a circle of friends. Alex was the easygoing one, the person who never made a fuss, who always said it's fine with a smile. But beneath that calm exterior, something was off. Alex was constantly tired, battling a persistent tension in their neck and shoulders. Headaches became a daily companion. Sarcasm was their second language, and they often found themselves judging others harshly in their mind, even their closest friends. Little things would trigger an overwhelming sense of irritation that Alex would quickly swallow down. A slow driver, a misplaced set of keys, a friend being a few minutes late. Each was a tiny spark landing on a pile of dry tinder. Alex just felt numb, disconnected, like watching life through a pane of glass. This is the classic picture of repressed anger. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through physical symptoms like chronic pain and fatigue, or emotional signs like cynicism, numbness, and passive-aggressive behavior. So, what causes us to repress anger in the first place? Often, it starts in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a household where expressing anger was forbidden. You were told to be nice, or sent to your room for showing any sign of frustration. You learned that anger was dangerous and could lead to punishment or the withdrawal of love. So you learned to push it down, to hide it away so you could be seen as good, or perhaps you're a people pleaser, terrified of conflict. The thought of disagreeing with someone or setting a boundary fills you with anxiety. You'd rather swallow your feelings and feel silently resentful than risk someone being upset with you. For Alex, it was a mix of both. Their parents valued harmony above all else, and any display of negative emotion was quickly shut down. As an adult, this translated into a deep-seated fear of rocking the boat in any of their relationships, both personal and professional. The cost of this so-called peace was their own emotional well-being. The problem is that buried anger doesn't just disappear. It's energy, and that energy has to go somewhere. Think of it like a beach ball you're trying to hold underwater. It takes constant effort, and the moment you lose focus, it bursts to the surface, often unexpectedly. This is why people with repressed anger can sometimes snap over something seemingly minor. It's not about the car that cut them off in traffic. It's about the months, or even years, of accumulated frustration finally breaking through. For Alex, the breaking point came during a team meeting at work. A colleague took credit for an idea Alex had worked on for weeks. Alex just sat there, smiling weakly, saying nothing. But that evening, at home, they found themselves yelling at the TV over a minor plot point in a show. It was a completely disproportionate reaction, and in the sudden silence that followed, Alex finally realized this wasn't about the show. The volcano was starting to rumble. When we constantly suppress our anger, it can manifest in some really damaging ways. Mentally and emotionally, it can fuel anxiety and depression. That constant internal battle, exhausting, draining our mental resources and leaving us feeling hopeless. Physically, the chronic stress of holding in anger can contribute to a host of problems. We already mentioned muscle tension and headaches, but it's also linked to digestive issues like IBS, high blood pressure, and a weakened immune system. Your body is trying to tell you something is wrong, Alex's constant fatigue and neck pain weren't just random symptoms. They were a physical manifestation of the emotional weight they were carrying. The sarcasm and internal judgment were the anger seeping out sideways, poisoning their perception of the world and pushing people away, creating the very disconnection they dreaded. So, how do we begin to deal with this? The first step, and often the hardest, is acknowledgement. It's about giving yourself permission to feel angry. It's about understanding that anger is not a bad emotion. It's a signal. It's your internal alarm system telling you that a boundary has been crossed, a need isn't being met, or an injustice has occurred. It's a messenger, and we need to listen to what it's trying to tell us. Alex's journey began with this simple yet revolutionary act of acknowledgement. After the TV incident, Alex sat down with a journal, a tool many therapists recommend. They started by writing, "I feel so angry." At first, it felt foreign, even wrong. But they kept writing, letting it all pour out. Anger at their colleague, at their boss for not noticing, but also anger at themselves for staying silent. It was messy and uncomfortable, but it was also a massive relief. The monster wasn't so scary once it was out of the closet and on the page. Once you've acknowledged the anger, the next step is to get curious. Ask yourself, what is this anger telling me? Try to trace it back to its source. Don't judge the feeling, just investigate it. Is it because you feel disrespected, unheard, powerless, unfairly treated? Naming the specific trigger helps you move from a vague feeling of being mad to a clear understanding of the problem. For Alex, journaling helped them connect the dots. The anger about their colleague wasn't just about a stolen idea. It was about a deeper feeling of being invisible and undervalued at work, a pattern that had repeated itself multiple times. This realization was a game changer. It transformed the anger from a destructive force into a source of information, pointing directly to a problem that needed to be addressed. Now, let's be clear. Processing anger doesn't mean unleashing it on everyone around you. The goal is not to go from passive to aggressive, but to become assertive. Assertiveness is the healthy middle ground. It's about expressing your feelings, needs, and boundaries in a clear, honest, and respectful way. It's saying, "I feel hurt when you take credit for my work, and I need that to stop," instead of either saying nothing or yelling. This is a skill, and it takes practice. Alex started small. They practiced setting small boundaries with friends, like saying, "Actually, I'm feeling tired tonight. I'd rather not go out," instead of just going along with the plan resentfully. Each small success built their confidence. Then came the big one, work. Armed with a newfound understanding of their feelings, Alex scheduled a private meeting with their colleague. They used I statements, a powerful tool in assertive communication. Instead of saying "you always steal my ideas," which is accusatory, Alex said, "I felt disheartened during the meeting when the presentation focused on the idea we developed together without acknowledging my contribution." It was terrifying, but Alex did it. The colleague was taken aback but, surprisingly, apologized. It wasn't a perfect, movie-ending moment, but it was a start. Alex had spoken their truth, stood up for themselves, and survived. The world didn't end. In fact, it got a little bit brighter. Alongside assertive communication, finding physical outlets for angry energy is crucial. That pent-up energy needs a safe release valve. This could be anything from high-intensity exercise like running, boxing, or dancing around your living room, to something more calming like yoga or tai chi. The key is to find something that helps you move the energy through your body in a constructive way. For Alex, running became their sanctuary. Pounding the pavement, with music blasting in their ears, they could physically feel the stress and frustration melting away with each mile. It wasn't about running away from the anger, but running with it, letting its power fuel them instead of consume them. Some people find that screaming into a pillow, hitting a punching bag, or even just having a good cry can be incredibly cathartic releases. It's also incredibly important to remember that this is a journey, not a quick fix. There will be times you fall back into old patterns. The key is to be compassionate with yourself. You are unlearning years, maybe even decades, of emotional conditioning. That takes time. For Alex, there were still days when it was easier to say it's fine than to confront a difficult feeling. But the difference was, now they could recognize it. They could check in with themselves later, journal about it, and think about how they might handle it differently next time. This is where self-compassion is vital. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend who is learning a difficult new skill. If you find that your repressed anger is deeply rooted or is causing significant problems in your life, please consider seeking help from a mental health professional. A therapist can provide a safe space for you to explore the origins of your anger and teach you personalized strategies for managing it. There is absolutely no shame in asking for help. It's a sign of incredible strength. Learning to understand and express your anger in a healthy way is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. It's about reclaiming your voice, honoring your feelings, and living a more authentic, vibrant life. It's about letting the volcano release its pressure safely and steadily, so you can enjoy the peace of the beautiful mountain that remains. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope Alex's story and these insights have been helpful. If this resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more content on emotional well-being. What are your favorite healthy ways to process anger? Share them in the comments below. Let's learn from each other. Take care and be kind to yourself.